Hey, everybody likes talking about themselves, eh?
I know I do.
Everybody does. That's just.
Am I out of the shot?
You're always your favorite topic.
Let's see, I'm out of the shot here if I do that one. And I
You don't want to be in the shot?
Well, if I do, I'm probably going to have to cuddle up with you on the couch.
Yeah, if you want to do that, go for it.
Okay with that?
Oh, yeah, I'm uncomfortable.
Well, hello.
No, I just don't like...
Welcome to Jobbed Out, the wrestling editorial that reminds you to be the reason why people believe in good people. Recently, I had the honor of having a sit-down chat with a former ECW Tag Team champion, a former WWE superstar, and All Japan wrestling legend, Philippe Lafon. Over the next hour, we go through his career from beginning to Japan to ECW and the WWE, as well as life afterward. We'll hear stories about his highs and lows, the car accident that changed his life, motivations, and many more other goodies. Check it out. How's it going? Joining me on Jobbed Out on YouTube, we have a personal friend and a legend in tag team, especially in All Japan history. We have Phil Lafon of the Can-Am Express. Phil, how are you doing today, man?
Good, hey, good to be here, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Like I said, everybody likes talking about themselves, eh? So I'm looking forward to it.
Phil, you started out, like you were born in Ontario, billed from Quebec, found your way to Alberta. So clearly Canadian through and through, love everything about this region, this area.
Yes.
Even the climate, the minus 20 weather.
It's not that cold indoors.
Indoors, that's the truth.
I just stay indoors.
Good call, good call. Talk me through how you were discovered by Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid.
Nah, that's going back some years. Wow, considering that's almost 40 years, 30-something years. Anyways, yeah, no, it was just, at the time I just came in, I did some bodybuilding contests in Quebec. So I moved over here, meet a girl, and I got a job right away at the Gold's Gym. It was the first Gold's Gym in Western Canada. And they used to come in on the weekends when they were in town. And Davey and Dynamite, that's when they were not that big. So we're talking about 81, 82. So they weren't huge like they are now. They were just normal size. And they used to protect the business a lot. So they used to invite all the big guys, like hockey players, fighters, anybody, to go up to the dungeon, Stu's Hart's dungeon, and it would really put a hurt on them. Like them guys will walk out and go, oh. Anyway, so I was a big power guy, power lifter, bodybuilder, and all that. They see me, Said, yeah, they invited me over, and sure enough, I got my beats and all that, but I kept going back, so that's how we made, yeah. That's how they broke the door, they opened the door for me.
Now, even though you started off in the dungeon, history, at least like the way that you've been archived, they don't say that Stu Hart was the one that trained you. They say your trainer was Mr. Hito.
Hito, yeah. No, Hito was the main guy. He, you remember, once I broke in, Stu was in his 70s. So, he still stretched us out, but he couldn't do as much and all that. But the main instructor was a Hito. Believe it or not, it's Ross Hart, of all people, helped me a lot. Everybody that came in, it was a perfect place to hang out. You learn a little bit of it. But the main guy, is Mr. Hito. Yeah, for sure. God bless him.
So when you started out, everybody needs a name, everybody needs a gimmick. You've had a few names, according to Wikipedia. Thank you to whoever did that. Tell me how you chose initially Renee Rougeau.
Most of these names I probably had 5, 6 different names. I said, call me what you want, just don't be late for my check, right? They're all given to me. So the reason behind that, might have remembered the promoter of someone, or they're trying to push that gimmick, or whatever it is, what role I fit in there. So, but most of these names, I'm trying to think of the one in Portland, Oregon when I was there. Rocky Ventura.
Rocky Ventura.
Yeah, I had that name.
That one's on your profile. That's on your wiki.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Somebody did better research than I did.
Yeah, no, it was just, it's a business. It was business, just changing your name. My name was very plain, so.
I don't know about that, but Maybe if you're working in the East, it's like if your name out in Alberta is John Smith, people are going to be like, well, it's just John Smith.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you've had two names that stuck with you pretty much the entirety of your career. Of course, the one that that followed you for your higher points is Dan Kroffat. Mm-hmm. How'd you get the Dan Kroffat name?
We were mentioning before, Rick Martel. Actually, I started working for him in Montreal, and Dino Bravo and himself, Gino Brito, they were the three main promoters. They owned the company. And they really liked my wrestling. Yeah, no, and they realized that my English, actually, even though I had a really strong accent before, imagine my accent 40 years ago, but it was English. I can speak English better than French. So they say, Phil, actually Ricky Martel, I can still remember that, but he goes, find me a name. Give me an English name you want to be called. So anyways, that went by, and I couldn't really think of one, and all that. A couple of weeks went by, and then we're going down to Ontario with a big name, and I go, Ricky, I don't really know. Whatever you feel is good. And he came back, about Dan Kroffat. So, all right, that was it. I had no clue who that was. I thought it looked like some trapper you seen on the wall or something,
But you know who he is now.
Yeah, he had a really good run from, I guess, in Alberta. Back in the 70s and the 80s, he was a pretty famous guy. Well, here, locally.
Yeah, he was a West Coaster, yeah. So he started out in Vancouver and kind of headed towards the prairies from there.
Yeah, I heard he's doing very well as a car salesman. He has his own company in Calgary.
Did he ever cut you a deal?
He'll probably ask me for money.
In the 80s especially, when wrestling was becoming more mainstream, getting a lot of time on TV, there was a lot of attention in North America for the NWA and for WWF. But you opted to go to Japan instead. So how did you end up finding your way into All Japan?
Boy, I really lucked out on that one. Again, I was trained through Hito. So Hito taught me really well, and I excelled. I think we were 12 guys that we fit in that year. We were 12 rookies. And I think I excelled the most out of all of them. They give me the Rookie of the Year and everything down in Stampede, believe it or not.
I believe it. You don't come up in the conversation as much as you should in terms of your technical ability. You were a chain wrestler. You had catch can down.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciated. I got an opportunity to also work in the WWF, but I know for whatever reason, and still to this day I can't figure it out, I can go, and I wrestled in front of 60,000 people, 25,000 people, I don't know how many times. I can go out in front of 25,000 people in my underwear and just have the time of my life, bringing them up, down, and all that. But you stick a mic in my face, in front of for whatever reason, I never fit in the character. I didn't think it was real, even though in the ring, it was physical, I didn't, But the mic, I could never do an interview. I was a horrible, I didn't like it. I wasn't good at it. It shows I was uncomfortable. So Japan, you don't do interviews, right? So, and I had a choice. So, and I like the Japanese style. They was really technician. They're a little bit more serious with their wrestling than they are in North America.
Yeah, the term they like to use now is strong style. Everything looks like it hurts. Everything is a very physical...
Is it? Yeah.
Especially now when you look at, because they actually get hurt. Look at Shibata, ended up ending his own career with a headbutt because he ended up causing his own brain to bleed. Because those headbutts are so stiff. You look at, the Nakamura style.
What company?
This is with New Japan Pro. So when you went to Japan initially, you were a single.
Yes.
But eventually you got paired with the guy who would almost be the star-crossed partner. You'd always end up finding your way back with him. You'd team up with Doug Furnas.
Yes.
So how did you guys get paired up?
Well, this is where I'm going to have to say it was Baba. Baba the promoter. Yeah, it was.
Giant Baba, absolute legend.
Yes, it was his deciding. He put us, it was Doug, Tom Zink. Oh my God, what's Dustin Rhodes' kid? Yeah, the tall blonde one. What's his name? Dustin. Is it Dustin?
Yeah, Dustin's the oldest son that became Gold Dust.
Gold Dust. Okay, yeah. That's why I called him by Gold Dust. And
he just now he's wrestling as Dustin Rhodes in 2020.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Dustin and myself, so we were 4, and we were trying the whole month. We were pairing up together, we're doing 4-man tags and all that. Baba was just looking at us, and at the end of that tournament, Baba asked Doug and I to come in, and they said, "You want to sign a big contract and all that?" Yeah, so I've been over to Baba's. In Japan, I've been there 56 times. 56 tournaments. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what they ended.
So here I was stuck thinking about, like, imagine if your whole career you had actually been the tag partner of Dustin Runnels. But
Could have been Tom Zink, because I was a partner with Tom Zink in Montreal.
It's true. You and Furnas did have a good fit, though. While you had this kind of like Road Warrior-esque, like, beat them down, show them how strong you were, like, you were the technician, Furnas was the tough guy. Like, there was a good dynamic between the two of you there.
Yeah, he was super strong. Oh.
And that's probably the fun part with him, is because he had a decent body, but he didn't like have like a Hercules body. He was a surprising strength with Doug.
You know, he was the world's strongest man. Eh? He beat Kazmaier in deadlifting.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Kazmaier's like...
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, clearly you guys had chemistry. You did well because you won gold right away. I want to say it was like your debut tag match. You won tag titles in All Japan.
Yeah.
I think it was your debut match.
They had all the uniforms for us and all that. We all fitted in, and yeah, no, that was a good experience. That was Baba's work, put us together. I felt bad because I think after that we got signed. I think we did like 7 tournaments the next year, and Tom and Dustin might have did 1 or 2. And it was like kind of sad in that way, but happy for myself because it's. No, it was a really, really good experience.
Now's as good a time to bring it up as any, especially because now there's a lot more attention on the Wrestling Observer and the sheets especially. It's one of those, again, forgotten things you don't get enough credit for. You had Match of the Year. You had a 5-star match according to the Observer. It was you and Furnas against Kobashi and Kikuchi in 1992. I've watched this match. I actually have it loaded up on my computer.
20分後経過したフランケンシュタイナー小橋目は開いている小橋菊池がカット菊池がカット
How the hell did you get the crowd so hot? I've never seen a Japan crowd so loud.
Yeah, no, that was an incredible match. Because Doug sometimes forgets spots, right? So I had to help him in the finish, and I can remember I was outside of the ring yelling, and he couldn't even hear me.
It was really impressive. They were chanting.
Oh yeah.
Screaming. They were doing the yay boo, and you're exchanging punches. You sold like a madman.
このアジアカップ3回目のチャレンジさあエルボーを打ち込んでいくぞガッツンガッツンガッツンガッツン肘で受け肘で受け肘で行きます肘で行きます行け行け行くスタンディングオベーション割れんばかりの拍手であります宮城県スポーツセンター
Which did you prefer then, and has it changed over the course of your career? Working as a single or working in a tag? Because you did have a decent singles run in All Japan as well. In 93, 94, you actually won the junior heavyweight title twice off the same guy, off Masanobu. Oh God, I haven't wrote it down. Fuchi, I think it was.
Fuchi,
yeah.
Fuchi.
You were his Ivan Koloff. Because he, at that point, had the longest reign with that title, and then here you come, broke it up.
Yeah.
You ruined his San Martino-like run with that belt, because he had it for like 4 years.
Wow.
Did you prefer having a singles run at the time? Or?
No, really. Because with Doug, it was very exciting, and by myself, he was in my corner too. We had a close relationship at first, and... It was fun. It was a change of pace was good. It's a known fact now. Now I went back to school that I was born with ADHD.
Really?
I understand, yeah. So full blown. So me, I think that's why I made it into an athleticism, because I need always something new. I need a new challenge. Look, I'm 59 years old. I'm thinking of going into a bodybuilding contest next year at 60.
Hey,
That'd
be awesome.
Yeah, it's just
You're still built for it, man.
I think I needed a challenge. So if I would have just did tag team, I probably would have got bored. So just the routine, it was equally as good. I used to get a rush and all that. Yes, as a single, you get all the credit because it's you. But I didn't mind sharing the credit with Doug. He was a good guy, so...
Yeah,
and we had a lot of credit. We had some incredible years. And not just Japan, but we also went Mexico, I don't know, 15, 20 times. We went to Mexico. We wrestled in Canada, all over the States, Puerto Rico. WWF, I think we went to South Africa.
You worked Mexico for a while, and then you found your way into this little indie promotion in Philadelphia that nobody seems to remember anymore.
ECW?
Extreme something. Yeah. How'd you find your way working in ECW? Who called who?
That was Doug's. See, me, I was more of the... So when we were at a match, I would probably do all the finish.
Oh.
So with all the other team, Doug didn't really... I don't know, he was a really good athlete, and I don't know, I had a knack for it. Even Kibashi, I can remember him telling me, you tell us tonight what we're doing, so I had a good knack for that, but he had a really good knack for promoting, so he would call anybody. When we got booked in the WWF, it was through him, we got booked in Mexico through him, so he would really shine on that. So
okay. I remember, there was something about him that I had read and had heard because Jim Cornette gave him a lot of attention in terms of how he and his brother would get booked, and that Doug had a big hand in actually doing that footwork. So that makes a lot of sense. Furnas ends up in ECW. He has a pretty damn good match against Rob Van Dam, and it culminates in a feud about respect. And that in order to teach respect to Rob Van Dam, he brings in Dan Kroffat. And in turn, RVD brings in his bitter rival, Sabu. So history, again, doesn't give enough credit to the fact that their rivalry becoming their iconic partnership was because of Doug Furnas and Phil Lafon. Pretty freaking awesome. What was it like working with these two?
Oh, it's
They
awesome.
have both positive and negative reps depending on who you ask.
Rob, I always really, really... Sabu, a little bit. But Rob, I knew him because through Japan and all that. I think Rob and I, we had a single in Budokan. And that was close to a match of the year, too. I don't know if you ever look at that one. Rob Van Dam and myself in a Budokan. That was unbelievable. But Rob was a real pleasure to work with. Sabu, too. Sabu, no, I really like it. Guys, and I don't know what it is, but I got along good with most people. I'm one of them guys,
I can vouch for that. I worked with you.
Yeah.
You actually kept me from quitting my job 8 months straight. You were actually there one of the days I walked out. And,
he's just...
Oh, and I have to bring this up just because we already went way past it with the, Sabu and RVD against the two of you. I went back and I watched it because it's on the network.
Good match?
It was a great match. And Joey Styles was trying to feed this storyline that you were coached by Taz.
Modified, inverted, Tazplex. Tazplex. I don't believe it. Taz went to Kroffat and Furnas.
Specifically doing Tazplexes and using his Tazmission finisher on Sabu. You were in on Taz's feud with Tazmaniac, his former partner Sabu. Were you given any of this info, or were they just Joey's recording it after the fact and yeah, sure, let's just go with it?
No, nothing. Never knew that. Taz was pretty nice to us, Yeah,
Believe it?
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up because it was actually last week. Tracy Smothers passed away.
Is that right?
He passed away on Monday.
Oh,
Full-blooded Italians, everybody dies.
No, I know him well.
Yeah.
No, I wrestled him. No, I know him.
Yeah. You actually won your tag titles, beating him and James Maritato, or Little Guido. And the FBI, history kind of looks on them as a comedy gimmick. But how did you like working with those two? Do you have memories of Tracy Smothers?
Yeah, very smooth. Very, he made it into like an art. I liked it. He was different. He wasn't like flamboyant or nothing, but he made it like, yeah, they look good. It's one of them things, and you're in the ring with them and you're saying that. So, no, they were good. No,
But it's like I'm noticing that pattern is all these talented people that blossom later on, they bumped into you first, They bumped for you first, really. It's pretty cool there.
I like that. They bumped for you first. Ding ding.
Now, as for ECW, you have one singles match that's at least listed. That's, acknowledged outside of, I wouldn't say house shows, but you had your singles debut was against Shane Douglas for the world title.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did this come to be? You got a world title shot in your first singles match.
I think reputation. I know Shane from Japan and all that. He always liked me, A lot of the guys, because I had a bad addiction, so I didn't really play with the guys, but a lot of them used to tell me, and hey, you're probably one of the best workers I ever seen, and not to, I'm a very modest man, but a lot of them would say it, and he would say, man, I love working with you. He always used to say that. So he probably put in the word, and he goes, yeah, I want to work with him.
That's a damn good reputation to have, though.
Yeah.
Especially like nowadays, like if people want to work with you, you never run short on bookings. You are the builder, really. Which would have been a good gimmick for you, but considering the era you came in, that would have resulted in a hard hat.
So, yeah, no kidding, eh?
November 1996, you get the call to Stamford, and you end up debuting for the WWF at Survivor Series.
And now goes up high. Oh, Furnas pivot. We've got action on the inside, action on the outside. What?
You brought it up a couple times, so I guess we might as well get the elephant in the room just out there. The addiction. What? How did it start? Was it pain pills? Was it specific drugs?
Yeah, it was. No, it was more.
Really?
More of everything. It didn't matter. It didn't. And that the era too. Think about it. That was we were like rock stars too. Then that was the big money, big stars. It was people were in. Even though they knew it was fake, but it was entertainment, right? It was like everybody's talking about the baseball players are doing it. And I was big there. So at one time, probably in the late '80s, if you did pass a drug test, you'd get fired. That's how bad it is. It was really bad. I mean, it was just, one time it would start, like I was a pretty clean kid. I was from bodybuilding and powerlifting background and went into wrestling and I did really good and all that, really fast. I moved up really fast. And
you really put your body out there, and that's why I was wondering, was it compensating for pain at the time? Or?
Yeah. That's part of it because, you're an athlete and just go and you get hurt and you take you start off with one pill every 4 hours, then it's like 4 pills every hour, and it just escalated. I think I was addicted. My worst, and it's too bad, was when I signed a contract with the WWF. I think that was my worst addiction.
So what made you snap back into reality there? What made you go, okay, I need to stop?
Well, that car accident, that, believe it or not, it did cost my career. I still got the operation. I got my neck fused, Do you want
to go into detail on what happened?
With the accident?
The accident.
No, we're just traveling. It was Sid Vicious driving. Doug was sitting in the back with Flash Funk.
Oh.
Yeah, Flash Funk. We're all coming back. I think we were driving to Ottawa. We landed in Montreal, took ourselves. We've been traveling a lot, so I think we were tired anyways. We're driving down a highway right on the border of Quebec and Ontario. I don't know, he was doing something. We just smoked a joint or whatever. We were doing this, and he went like that. Lost control. Oh, wow. It was a brand new Lincoln. All he went like that. And then we flipped it. I don't know how many times I got knocked out. So, yeah, but they would say it was pretty bad. There was pictures of it. It was pretty bad. I rolled it like 3-4 times. Well, yeah, it was.
Damn fortunate everybody in that car got out all right.
Yeah,
eventually everybody. I mean, Sid's had worse injuries.
That leg, remember jumping off it? Oh.
It's one of my more. It was actually one of the first videos that I talked about. I talked about WCW mishandling his injury.
Oh.
And it's like a whole thing because I even showed the Monday Nitro where they're showing the recap of what happened at the pay-per-view. And you know what they cut immediately to? A fake funeral. Why? So it's like they're talking about Sid's broken leg. They just showed it 5 times, which during the pay-per-view they showed it once. They show it 5 times from different angles, and then ba 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 ba. But what are you doing? Yikes! Just yikes, man.
Yeah. You know, yes, we did sign a 3-year contract with WWF, and if you would have converted at that time, because it was 96, right? Mm-hmm. It was almost $1 million for 3 years. And
each or together?
Each. For me, my part.
Wow.
My part was $675 American. That was just her contract. With merchandise and all that, you could easily double that. So we could have made a couple. However, we never got to that point because of that car accident. 8 months into it, we're just brand new, getting around, getting a little known, and then that car accident.
Because you guys were having great matches. They were putting you on pay-per-view.
He asked us to find a manager, and I can see it because we were both not very good at interviews and all that. We needed to, and I had a perfect guy, Bobby Jaggers, which I worked with him in Puerto Rico. I met him in Kansas City. I should have asked him there. But anyways, it didn't happen. But mind you, that accident, even though it costed my career, I was pretty much over after that, it saved my life. Because it made me realize that, so when I broke my neck, I was in there for another 6 months. I was on so many, and I loved it because all I did is get my sore neck, and okay, I played it out to the max, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like enjoying a buzz when you're drinking, Yeah. It's like, so you're telling me I can keep the buzz going,
And then when we went back to wrestling, we got cut and all that, and I just said, oh my God, because I was like, I couldn't even remember half of the nights there. What do you mean we got cut? That was something, we got released and all that. They actually wanted us to come back with something else, give an idea and all that.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I think it was in their plans, you always come back, you take a year off and all that, rejuvenate yourself. But I was to the point where even today, something snapped in me and I says, I don't want this life anymore. I was like my full-blown addiction and all that. I had a beautiful job, $1 million job, and over the years, it could have been really, so down the road, I still went out, but I think that accident was, it was a starting point of saying, okay, you need to change your life. That was a big start. As much as that hurts, I would have loved to finish my contract. I would have loved to. Now I see some of the guys, that go on TV that have been on it for a year or two. They're how popular they were. I would have loved to have that, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. Yeah. And in 3 years, you can make noise, And that's why, like I said, we were mentioning about Vince. I have no ill will to Vince for cutting me because we were just not producing, and it was, I was so addicted, and I was amazed that he was giving us the money that, like for 6 months I stayed at home. Every Wednesday I would get a check, $5,000 Canadian. And just stay at home. So, he is a businessman. He kept his word and all that, but I have no ill will to him.
It feels like there's a bit of, when it comes to McMahon, especially the fans have gone overboard on polarizing him, because he's been a villain on TV for 20-something years. Yeah. But, ultimately, he's just doing business. 2020, he's, trying to change business into some stuff, like trying to get away with stuff that you can't get away with. But ultimately, it was, making sure that the business runs smoothly, that his performers are paid. He eventually started, it essentially was a PR move, but he did start a rehab program.
I heard a lot of people, using it. Yeah, I wish I would have did it. I didn't know it. I should have. But I was so naive. When you're addicted, you deny everything. Everything's denied. I don't have a problem. I don't need that. I don't need rehab. And even though you go, like when I finally turned into an addiction counselor, I seen people come in 8, 9 times, different times.
And anything that goes wrong is someone else's fault.
They're victim.
It's a damn shame. But I'm glad you cleaned up, obviously.
Yeah, 13 years.
You did eventually, return back. You were wrestling for a while after you had recovered from the crash. This is something that fans are learning more and more about after the fact. The kind of hidden partnership between WWF and ECW. You were sent back to ECW to be an invader. I think they called him Teen Titan. So, at the time, how was that pitched to you guys? Were you in on the partnership? Was it like, we're going to send you to the feeder system, or we're going to strongly encourage you to work for these guys and not tell you they're also on our payroll? How did that go down?
No, they just, from what I can recollect, we just went down. They just say, hey, we're going to go down there. You guys got to work on your interviews, this and that. That's what they basically told us. Yeah. And we went down there. We didn't mind because we knew everybody down there, so...
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so, we liked it too, and...
I'm still down when people talk about ECW originals and pull up all these names, and some names were only there for a couple weeks, and you guys never get mentioned. You were champs, come on now. You had a major storyline, you had a major point in history that led to their formation of, two of their most popular wrestlers.
Yeah.
You did ECW, you did WWF. Why wasn't WCW ever an option for you guys? Did you ever call Georgia? Did you try to get in at some point, whether it was the Crockett years or, in 98 when... Because even at one point, Martel came back. Sadly, it put an end to his career. His knees were already in bad shape and he got hurt in WCW. But it feels like that you guys would have been a good fit even if you weren't, going to join the NWO and be the top guys. So were they ever something you guys considered?
I think when we got cut, it was more me than Doug. Doug wanted, I think, mentioned that. Well, we can go down there south and all that. And I said, you know what, I'm done. I told him because I was I was more busy doing drugs. And I thought, I was really, really hurt by that. It was, I never got cut before or anything like that. So I took it the wrong way, but when you're in addiction, it's not like you have all the skills, right, to deal with things like that. And I just basically thought, but he mentioned that. He says, maybe we can go try out down there. But we never did. He knew a couple of people down there, too.
When Furnas stayed with ECW for a while, you were gone late 98, did you work anywhere else, or were you just gone?
I was gone. I think I came back when Otto came up to me. Hey, you want to work full time? And at the time, I don't know if I want to go back on the road again, up to Yukon, Yeah, no, I think I came back with Otto, and that was pretty much my last. I realized I don't want to do this anymore. Comes a time in your life, you're just like, oh, you went like this. That's how you, So I did it started when I was 21, 22. I retired when I was mid-40s.
Yeah, you did well.
Over 20 years.
You kind of came out temporarily. You cleaned up. You found Massive Damage. Went to Monster Pro. You kind of pop up every now and then. Did you become were you active with Monster Pro, or is it kind of yeah, sure, I'll be a
No, I
guest?
liked it. No, I used to come up. First time I came up was with Steve Rivers. I'm talking that early.
Oh, I remember Steve Rivers.
Yeah.
2003, I'm at first I saw him and I'm geez, why has he got the Kurt Angle gimmick? And then, I can't remember who, I think he actually wrestled Massive that night. I'm shit, I really like this guy.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, yeah. We came up together the first time, and I think Sean had a crazy house. And I looked, oh, yeah, I can do this. I worked with Sean, a little bit of Can-Am, and that was a bit. And I said, you know what? I pretty much retired with Sean's company. I said, no. Every time I go training, coaching them, hey, you want to work next show? No, guys. I'm running out of how to say no.
By the way, first show in 5 years that I go to, first Monster Pro show in 5 years, I come back, and you are just hilarious. At one point, you were the enforcer. I don't think you were commissioner. But, Blake Cannon would go out, do his thing, and you would just go out there, grab him by the collar, and take him away. Fan-fucking-tastic. And I should have said this at the beginning. You know, you said, you know, interviews were hard for you. You're not comfortable in front of a mic. Thank you, because you're very natural with this. I love seeing the growth. But you do see moments over your career where it's really clear you're just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the best feeling to see that. I have like a 10-second clip. It was a Shotgun Sarah. I think it was your last match with the WWF. And it was against the Hardys. Once again, it seems like these great people who go on to have great careers bump for you. Because Matt and Jeff, they did all right for themselves.
Yeah, no, they did, yeah.
But when you beat, you and Doug got this combo on them, and you pinned Jeff, and then you did almost the Eddie Guerrero shimmy. And you had the wide smile on your face. I'm like, fuck, why aren't they using this guy more? Like, the personality was there.
Yeah, you'd have to be in the moment, right? Yeah.
But that's the fun part. I guess I should ask, because again, like, the style didn't fit with the WWF at the time. You know, they were bright colors and gimmicks, and everybody's day job is now their night gimmick. You know, the Duke the Dumpster and the Goon, and like you were handpicked, like you were invited into the business. You came from the era where you didn't get into the business unless a wrestler says, "Okay, you're worthy of being in this business." Now, there's schools all over the place. You know, if you want to learn to wrestle, anybody will try to teach you. How do you feel about fans trying to be more inside? Like, 20 years ago, if I went to you to do this interview, you would have been absolutely right to tell me to fuck off, call me a mark, and send me home. But, you know, nowadays, people want to know every aspect. They want to know people's personal lives. You take a look at, like, Dark Side of the Ring. I don't know if you've watched that documentary, because they take a look at some of the darker, more morbid moments in history. They did a full hour on Dino Bravo, and they talked about the assassination. You know, they had his daughter there, wishing death, wishing pain on the person who killed him.
Yeah, that was horrible, yeah.
It was. But how do you feel about, do you feel like fans should be eating up as much as they can, or like do we need to pull back and kind of let some of that mystique remain mysterious? Like, how do you feel about fans trying to be inside?
Yeah, I like the mystique, you know, I mean, I like it. Is that what you're asking? Or there should be more in, yeah.
Do you feel like it's that fans should be trying to gather it all up, or should fans try to keep that kayfabe? Don't try to figure out how the hot dog is made every time. Yeah,
the kayfabe. And you know what? I mean, everybody's different. You know, some people like showing their lives and on TV and all that, and some people like to be a little bit more reserved. You know, I do believe that keeping things where nobody has to know, you know, even extraordinary things in your life that nobody has to know, I think is a good thing. I think it's good for the inner soul, because for myself, it creates more value.
Yeah.
Not everybody's
It's yours and yours alone.
You know, and that's how I like it, you know, but everybody's different. You know, there's some people that now they can't even go an hour working out without them putting themselves on Instagram or this.
Yeah.
You can't have a workout without Instagram. I'm saying, my God.
That's true. All right, I've only got a couple more for you.
Okay.
This one kind of ties back to the WWF when they started to turn you and Furnas, and you guys were similar to what the Hart Foundation would become. It was the Canada versus US, the world versus America. How do you feel about nationalism gimmicks? You know, USA versus the world, because it works for the USA. But now that it's a global product, you know, how do you feel like Canadians aren't going to be cheering for the USA team against Furnas, Lafon, Bulldog, and Owen?
Remind me a story. This is kind of so the Sheik, you know, they were all wrestling in Toronto, big house and everything, and he's doing his gimmick, and all of a sudden he starts, "Don't say USA." Everybody's looking around. Nobody's saying USA, we're in Canada, you know. You know, it just reminded me of that story.
That's
right
the
there.
best thing. That happens so much. You know, there's Bret Hart versus Yoko, and they're chanting USA. There was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens a few years ago. Both of them are from Quebec. They're from Laval. At least Sammy's from Laval. Can't remember where Owens is from. He might be from Montreal. And he actually got on the mic and he said, "We're both Canadian, you idiots." But like, how did... I don't even know how to finish that question, but I think you answered it pretty well in terms of like trying to make nationalism.
It's the easiest thing. We used to go out in Japan, Doug and I, we used to have these coats leather coats, Canada on the end, you would have the USA. And at the end of every tournament, we would sell them like crazy amount of money, but we would do the Canada, United States thing. Like, and it's like, even though it's a work, you still feel proud. When you go out there and you see like 20,000 people cheering you and all that, and you got the Canadian flag on the back, it does feel nice, you know. I do it, but, you know, to make it like, oh, I'm a Canadian, you know, if you're a heel and all that. That's one thing when they were trying to bring us to heel. The only thing, I don't think I had enough experience. I've never been a heel. I was always a babyface, then I went to Japan. I've been a heel in Puerto Rico on the Kansas Jayhawks, but nothing like they wanted. You know, I wish I had a little bit more experience, but
it comes down to the acting side of it. You know, you can't just let the wrestling tell the story necessarily, unless you're poking someone in the eyes or delivering in a low blow.
Yeah,
you know, they want you.
They
want you to go out there and say something heinous, or
you know, you can't out wrestle a baby face and get heat. You know, it's just you have to like do something dirty and all that. And I don't think that Doug and I had enough training, you know, or enough awareness of it, you know. But I could have easily heel. Heel's fun. Yeah.
Well, that saved me the trouble of asking which you prefer.
Well, I did heel.
But everyone says heel. Because heel, you get to be more creative with it, and if you fail, they cheer you. But if you try to be a babyface and you fail, you've lost on every level, right?
You got to put yourself out there, Yeah, Sean, I was doing a heel gimmick for a while. So even though I had this ledger status and all that, I come out, guys, I would be in a business a month, I would do a job for them. And I would have to fight with Sean. I said, Sean. So what it is during the finish, it was very short. You know, I'll grab them, I'll do something to them and, pin them. 1, 2, 3. Raise my hand, you know, pick them up like I'm helping him. I'll suplex him again. Referee gets mad and all that. Okay, I'll go on I'm so sorry, that was over the edge, I'm sorry. So I'll pick him up, I'll DDT him like 4 or 5 times. So eventually they would disqualify me. But the guy is getting stretchered out. The referee's picking up the guy stretchered out, knocked out, and he's raising his hand, and I'm in the back mat. And I did like 4 or 5 times. I was doing jobs for these kids.
I like that. I like the disqualified for kicking too much ass.
Yeah,
that's a great way to be a heel.
It was heat, you know, because every time I picked the guy up, you saw like right now, I would suplex him on his head. Everybody. It was funny, but
Tazplex if you ask Joey Styles.
Is that his name, Joey Styles?
Joey Styles is the commentator in ECW.
Oh,
he was the one. It's like he just delivered a second rope Tazplex. That's a Tazplex. Taz is in on it. Like that was his whole thing. Is like, yeah, he must like Phil was Taz's hired gun, not Furnas's partner. It was such a twisted thing. I guess we didn't talk about it very much because it is one of the dark, the sadder points. Because after you retired, you went your own way. Doug went his own way. He did move to San Diego. He started doing social work in his own right, helping abuse victims, and he passed away in 2012. So ultimately, how do you look back at Doug's legacy as a wrestler and as a person? How do you look back on this guy you spent so much of your career with?
Yeah, I can always remember that day because my nephew was in town. He was doing a karate tournament. He was just about 7, 8 years old. And I got a call from Doug. Doug very rare calls me, so I go outside. From Sean. And I go, Sean? Yeah, John, what's going on? He goes, hey, I'm sorry to tell you about Doug. So what's up with Doug? And then he told me, and I broke. I started crying right on the spot and all that. And I just said, wow, his life is just, it's funny because if anybody, and God bless me for saying this, if anybody should have died between both of us, it would have been me. I pushed it. Like this guy would never drink, never do drugs. He was the perfect athlete. consistently the same meals every day, and it was all healthy, right? So this guy was a good role model and everything, and here I am. Don't need to stay up for 3 days, all high, this and that, and just kept going. And when I heard he passed away, I talked to his ex-wife. They separated. I just couldn't believe it. I heard he dwindled away. I haven't seen him in years, but I heard he dwindled away, and he started drinking, and he started, and you know, that's speculation, but it was, it's just part of life. But you know what, I must know, got calls for at least 25, 30 people I actually traveled the world with and ate with their families and ate with them and hung out with them that are passed away through addiction or through whatever it is, you know. So, and Doug definitely hit me hard. We were together for 10 years, you know, and I would say 95% of it was good. And like any other relationship, everybody has its challenges. It's how we work together and know each other better, right? Like, man, he covered my ass so many times, and I covered his ass in the ring, you know. And as funny as it is, he had a hard time picking up the business. You know, he was just too strong, you know. I can remember going to Mexico, and he would just do a normal shoulder tackle. Mexican would be so mad. They would bring him in they would leave me alone because I worked their style. I lived in Mexico before. And then they would bring him in a shower. Me go, work. Because he was so strong. But, you know, Doug was a shot in the arm. I mean, it just shows, you know, it was just, wow, yeah. It's funny. Life is funny, you know. People are going to go, you know, that's part of life. You know, just checking in my mother into an old age home. I seen her home my whole life. Even she didn't raise us. My father raised us. She was a very strong woman, and now she's an old, fragile woman, very vulnerable, and it's just like, oh, geez, you know.
Yeah.
Sad, very sad.
It's tough because they're not the person you remember them the whole life. I'm dealing with that personally myself because my grandma's got dementia, so losing a bit of her, you know, by the phone call. I know that feel.
Sad, eh?
Yeah. All right, so then we got to pick this up and ended on something cheerful. Okay, so we know who your best partner was because you're never gonna have another partner like Doug.
Yeah, by far.
So I'll give you, because it's always tough to pick one. Give me 3 of your best opponents. Could never have a bad match. You always had fun when you're in the ring with them.
Jerry Morrow. That's right off the bat. You know, the one thing about Jerry Morrow, you're saying these hidden secrets, you know, where people don't really know. Even through my whole over 20 years of experience, I traveled all the world, wrestled pretty much everybody. I would put, for me, my opinion, Jerry Morrow's probably the best wrestler I ever met or ever worked with. Yeah. He just amazed me. So Jerry Morrow, oh boy, there's so many.
That's why I gave you 3.
Stan Hansen is because one time he clotheslined me, I think it was at the Tokyo Dome, or I don't know. I literally did a woo woo.
Oh, you did like the full?
No, I didn't do the full. But he hit me so hard. And I liked Stan. We never got along for the first 4 or 5 years, but then after we became friends, and I always liked working with him because he's consistent. He made the business look as real as possible. He wasn't fancy or nothing, and did his own thing. So I go...
Morrow, you got Hansen?
Believe it or not, I'll put Rob Van Dam in there. Van Dam, I never had a bad match with him. He was so easy and nice guy. I liked him. He was very respectful.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a good guy. I like Rob. But, you know, I mean, that list... That's very unfair because just in the moment now.
And that's the point of doing that, though, is because if you have time to think about it, you have time to question your picks.
Yeah,
right?
I would have probably picked 1,000 guys, you know.
Well, you're out of wrestling for the most part because you still help with Monster Pro. You're healthy, you're clean, you're happier, you've gone back, you've done, got a diploma in social work, you're helping people, you have... a fun job and try to keep people even like me sane. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry. So what message do you have for people that want to get into wrestling, that want to aspire to be in the business? Like, if you could give that first lesson.
First lesson, get in the ring and do it. You know, everybody talks about it. Everybody, like, talks a good fight.
It's true.
Everybody. Man, I had so many fights at Shade, and this guy's, oh, you got to do this. I said, yeah, you're pretty good at talking. Be in the moment. It's a little different, being in the moment. And that's it. The first thing I would say, man, before you even think that you're going to be a world champion, this and that, just get in the ring. Just get in the ring. Do it. One time at least. Then go from there.
There you go.
That's my only advice. As when I worked with a social worker, I worked with every dynamic in ages. So I worked with seniors, prostitutes, adults, juniors, you know. I worked with every... But when I was working with seniors, I only did it like 6 months. And I used to have to be... I was an outreach worker. So I would have to go to their hospital bed. And a lot of the times, not a lot, couple of times I heard, you know, where they were saying, I wish I would have maybe tried that. See, they don't have a choice anymore. You have a choice. And I tell him, I said, get it off your bucket list. The worst thing in life is saying, I wish I could have did it. Well, you still can. And that's what I'm doing. So I'm saying, well, now that I've been in really shape, like COVID, when they closed us down, I told everybody no, it's a lie, it's a lie. I was in denial. But I said, I'm going to make something positive. So I had Trevor and Zach will come over pretty much 5-6 days a week. I have my own little gym. Only 3 weights, not much. About this size of this room, we have 3 guys in there. I probably got in the best shape of my life I've never seen. I said,
it shows.
I know.
I can't believe. Well, like even look what I'm seeing right now. I can't believe it.
I know. And I was saying, you know what? Bodybuilding. I said, if I go bodybuilding, it's going to help me go with my diet. It's going to help me more discipline. It's going to give me a goal. It's going to be, you know. So now I'm thinking of doing a contest in my 60s, you know. So.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it.
And that's what I tell everybody. If you know, 2 quotes. I mean, always do it now while you still have the chance. Don't wait for later. You know, go in there now. And be the reason why people believe in good people. You know, people believe. Yeah. And nice people. Honorable people. Be the reason. You know, don't advertise all the good stuff you do. Just do it, and don't expect nothing out of it.
Well, you know, on a personal level, I appreciate the hell out of you. on this channel, I appreciate the hell out of you as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And there you have it. I just want to give a huge thank you once again to Phil for agreeing to sit down with me here. You know, this is only Phil's 2nd interview ever. Period. And the dude's a natural. I sincerely hope the wrestling world gives him the love and the credit that he deserves for his work inside the ring and out. I also hope that the real world continues to reward him for the fine, positive, encouraging man that he is. Kick some ass in that bodybuilding competition, man. With that said, what did you think of this sit-down chat with Philippe Lafon? What moments stuck out the most to you? And what questions would you want to ask if another opportunity arises? Also, what memories do you have of Doug Furnas and Phil Lafon as wrestlers? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more, because I want you to be a part of the conversation too. For now though, I better get my shoulders off the mat, so thank you for tuning in to Jobbed Out. I'll catch you next time.